Hello, Tython. Killer Clowns here, your friendly neighborhood guild leader, here to give you a Q4 mid-quarter update. Obviously, given where we are in on the calendar, and this is essentially a 2020 year in review and a look to 2021. This is a great time to be a strong player in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It definitely looks like CG is listening and trying to improve the game for players to continue their growth and progress in 2021. A lot of changes that are rolling out next week are extremely player friendly. So thanks for all the investment that you've done up to this point. You are already taking very strong teams into territory battles, territory wars, and the changes that are coming next week should just increase your ability to do so. Now let's get into how looks from a Tython point of view. The flow of this presentation is very similar to previous presentations. We'll start by talking about our new Tythonians and Officer Corps, walk through the 2020 year in review, talk about the 2021 plan, which you can start executing right away if you haven't already. And then, as always, I will show you what my plan is for my main account and Albus and how that synergizes with what we're talking about for Tython, and leave you with some next steps you can take. First off, a very warm welcome to our new Tythonians since our last quarterly update last quarter. Inukai, Roberto Pinder, Revenantes, all exceptional players that we're very excited to have on board. They actually span the globe, so our guild continues to become international. In the case of Inukai, he's a good friend of Rod Malls, one of our top Tythonians, top players. So it's always fun for us to get either family members, friends, old arena mates, old guild mates together. It makes for a much stronger guild. Excited to have all of you on board. Our officer corps continues to be world class. Quite honestly, I put our officer group up against any guild in the game today. It's just amazing what they've been able to accomplish for us. Their leadership, their theory crafting, their ability to change on a dime with the guild or with what CG is rolling out. It's been a great year with all of them. And I'd also like to welcome a couple new members, Oberon and Antistes. Both are joining the TW team. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing their ideas. They've been talking a lot with Tusker, who of course is our Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky of TW. So they've already picked up a lot of pointers, both from a strategy and from an operations point of view from Tusker. And then with that, they'll be able to start injecting their own personality and their own ideas into the way that we TW. No matter what, though, we are going to just continue to win. Every single opponent we go up against, we feel very strongly that we are prepared and will continue to prepare to either be equal or better than them, and then win based on our execution. Every quarter that I've updated this chart, I've had to keep moving our metrics up, keep moving our goals up. We've really crushed the ball across all of the lines here. So feel free to kind of just review this, give yourself a pat on the back or a salute in the mirror. The contributions of the 50 players in this guild have really been outstanding, and it should never go without mention, and that there is no guild at our level, at the 230 million level, that accomplishes what we accomplish. And the reason that is because we have 50 strong individual players all looking at their games, playing the game, having fun in the game, but also keeping an eye to what's needed in the guild events, TW and TB, and preparing appropriately for it. Really, hats off to all of you. Thank you very much for what you've done here in 2020. And I'll just quickly kind of go through a 2020 checklist and then jump into 2021 because we're primed. For those of us who have been here for the entire year, you know that our focus has been dark side separatists to basically conquer Darkside GOTB. And by and large, we've done it. In the next slide, I'm going to go through a quick checklist. So if you are an older Tythonian and you haven't accomplished everything, the next slide will give you a quick checklist to just see where you stand. But in a pictorial view, this is where everybody should be leaving 2020 with all these tunes at G12 or better, and with one of the meta capital shifts, Negotiator or Malevolence, at 7 stars, with hopefully the other ship already unlocked. Here's the checklist. I'll give you a moment to just look at it. Obviously, you can pause this video if you want to just compare your squad against this. If you see any of these tunes or ships that you aren't far along on, please reach out to the officer group or to me personally, and let's talk about your farming plan. And if you have worked with us throughout the year and followed the plan, this is where you should be coming out of the year, and from a guild contribution point of view. On Darkside Geo, you should be above 50 waves, getting a watch shard very consistently with full knowledge of how that special mission works, and able to knock down the P1 special mission, especially now that everybody has a 7-star watt. And I think actually you only need a 6-star watt to truly do it, but a G12 7-star watt sort of easily takes us through that P1 special mission, which is 15 get 2 per person. And so if we can get 40 plus, we essentially get 600 get 2 every Darkside GOTB. On the light side Geo, which is of course very RNG dependent, you should, having followed this Tython plan, be able to fairly comfortably knock down 5+ waves with, especially in the next TB, 3 or 4 of that 5 handled by Negotiator-led GR fleets. And then depending on RNG and your modding and your gear level on your Padme team and your JKR team and eventually your Shock T gas clones team, you should be able to get a bunch more waves. And just to give you a quick heads up for 2021, that type of farming plan should easily get you into 10+ waves, which is what we're looking for. From a TW point of view, again, if you focus on these teams that we've been talking about for TB, especially on the dark side, but also the Padme and JKR teams on the light side, and now having the 501 join your ranks, you should be able to successfully attack 3 or more times in territory war against every opponent short of maybe gas and a GL. So every opponent should really be, or you should see an opportunity to attack successfully 3+ times. And of course, the hallmark of every Tythonian is we need 600 regularly. We know that sometimes real life gets in the way and that you'll miss here or there. But if you miss, we expect that you don't miss by much because we want those raids to just keep rolling. We want all that loot, all that good stuff, because for all 50 Tythonians, that good stuff really accelerates our farming and gearing plans. The officer group is constantly trying to guide us according to what we don't fully know. We think we know, but we don't fully know everything that CG might be rolling out in 2021. So what we're going to roll out here is what we believe is going to be very, very effective for Tython going into 2021, with the understanding that if mid-2021 CG comes up with a new idea to be successful, that we are going to respond very quickly to any changes that they introduce. But for now, we think we know what they want. We think we know what it takes for us to constantly be winning and for all of you to continue to enjoy the game. From a leadership point of view, I'm pretty excited about 2021 for all the players, because for the first time in essentially 18 months, the guild does not need to roll out firm requirements for players and the guild to be successful. players really get to choose. Because CG has given us these these galactic legends, both on the light side and the dark side, and they're all essentially equivalent. Each one has their pros and each one has their cons, and the farming plan to get to them yields tunes and squads that are extremely effective in one of the TBs and TW. You get to choose whichever makes the most sense for where you stand today, whichever one makes most sense for what you like in the Star Wars universe, and we as a guild get to mold ourselves according to what you want, as opposed to what CG gave us before, which was a separatist TB that essentially forced guilds to tell players, we really need you to go after a separatist do or die. So if you choose light side and you go after Rey, or you go after Jedi Luke and ultimately Jedi Master Luke, and you get some of the good stuff like 3PO and Chewie and Mon Mothma, you're going to be exceptional in light side Geo. If you go after Sith Empire Emperor Palpatine or go after Kylo, you're going to be exceptional on the dark side. And both groups are going to be exceptional at territory war. In the middle, though, I do want to highlight that we are going to be looking for 50 gas running, and Vader at a top relic level is essential for almost every GL counter out there. Let's talk about that. First, let's talk about some goals, and then let's talk about the actual daily activities, weekly, monthly plans you can put into play to reach these goals. For Dark Side Geo to be successful, we need every player to get their malevolence to 7 stars. The reason we play Dark Side Geo is to get to, and the get to directly takes all negotiators to 7 stars and all malevolence to 7 stars very quickly in this guild, because we get so much get to on a regular basis. We're looking for everybody to be accomplishing the P1S special mission. Let's start with a goal of 40 plus, and we're essentially at 30 stars. So next year we'll be looking for 31 stars plus, but we aren't going to formally push it because, again, looking back to the previous slide, many of our members might go light side, some members will go dark side, and so organically we'll get to 31 stars plus. On the light side, we're looking for everybody to get a cam shard consistently. That means your Shock T and your clones have to be relic. I've seen relic 5 at a minimum, but let's just for now just say they all need to be relic. You'll need gas. I don't have it listed here, but I do talk about it in the next slide. And that type of work will build every individual player to 20 plus CM waves on a regular basis. Maybe one TB or another TB won't hit it, but for the most part, you'll be at 20 plus CM waves by the middle of next year. This, as a collective, will solidify us easily at 17 stars and will give us the ability to be in the 2020 category. Kind of interesting that I'm recording this on November 20th, year 2020. And this is going to be our goal for Lightside Geo 2020, just coincidence. From a territory war point of view, this is going to be a huge focal point for us all year next year. And the main reason is territory war is the most dynamic mode. It can never become stale because we are always going to be going against some number of 40 to 50 other players who have been working just like us and are hoping to beat us, just like we're trying to beat them. They will kind of creatively do it, and they will also do it with consistency. It is our opportunity to outthink them, outplay them, out-execute them, and essentially win every time. And that win for us is very similar to a Grand Arena win or a Squad Arena win, in that CG wasn't involved. It's another real person who's been working just like us for several years on this game, and we've demonstrated that our abilities are better than theirs. To do so, we will be talking a lot more about efficiency. It's a little bit difficult in a guild where we're focusing on everybody attacking to at the same time talk about efficiency, but we've got some ideas to help the guild still be very enthusiastic about attacking, but also always get one-shot kills, or almost always get one-shot kills. From a farming perspective, we need every single person to be thinking either GL counter or GL. It's up to you which one you want to pursue. The GL counters, especially now that we have Watt at 7 stars, are right in front of you. There are a bunch that can easily be created, geared up properly, and rehearsed in the arenas. But likewise, if you're already on a GL path, keep going. We need those GLs. We need them on defense. We need them on offense. And obviously, most GLs do counter other GLs. Finally, we will be continuing to talk about mods. One of the ways that we will continually win at TW, one of the ways that people will get 20 plus CM waves in Lightside Geo is through continued inspection and progress on their mods. What we found is you don't have to go deep into mods to be extremely effective. Obviously, our superlative players are also superlative at their mod farming, slicing, and application. But our mainstream players can be very, very successful with just some minor investments in mods. This is our checklist for 2021. It's much simpler than anything that we did in 2019 or 2020. And when I went through this checklist and thought about it, it turned out that this checklist will make you a superlative player in TW, in TB, and in all the arenas that you fight in. So this is a very effective playlist, we think, playbook for all of our players. To be honest, I would say 75% of our players already there. So this is really a message to the 25% of the players who have been working pretty hard for a couple of years and are ready for what comes next. And what comes next for that 25% is Get Gas and Relic Gas. Gas at R7 is essentially one of the best tunes in the game. Be Can Ready, which is Shock T and the 501, again, at Relic levels. RNG plays a big role in that event, that special mission. We're still trying to understand it and practice it as individual players and ultimately as a guild, but we are going to crack that code. The necessary ingredient to crack that code is Shock T and the 501 being at the right gear level. We need, just like we asked the guild to get Hunter's Tooth before as the tank for Darkside Geo, we need the group to get BTLB Y-Wing for Lightside Geo. For those who haven't run a GR fleet, this ship is amazing. This ship kind of can easily replace Hunter's Tooth or can come in with Hunter's Tooth as a second tank, and you essentially just demolish your enemies in arena. So many of us who are running our fleet arena climbs and getting to 1 on a daily basis, the reason is because we have Y-Wing farmed. You know, Y-Wing even at 5 and 6 stars is super effective, and then at 7 stars it's just a dynamite meta team ship. And then when you look at the bottom 2 rows, it just depends on where you are. If you're at the point where you're not ready to go after a GL, then go ahead and develop a GL counter, and we'll be working with people on the easiest, highest value GL counters to farm. If you're already on a GL path or want to get on a GL path, go for it. Next year is the year of GLs, and from a Tython point of view, nothing would serve us better than having at least 50 GLs in the guild by the end of the year. Here's General Anakin Skywalker, one of the best tunes in the game. We need them, 50 of them. From a Lightside GOTB point of view, there is going to be a foundation that all players in Tython should have, and that will be a JKR team. It's not very effective in Lightside Geo, but It's the best that we have for the first Jedi team, so we run with it. Sometimes you can get 1 or 2 waves out of it. The Padme Galactic Republic team is a fantastic team, especially if you've gotten gas, then you've got C-3PO, you get him up to G12, add him to the Padme team. You have a very, very good shot at getting 2 or 3 waves every single phase in GOTV. The Shakti-led 501 is absolutely necessary for the CAM mission, but also highly, highly effective in all of the other CMs. So again, here's an opportunity every phase until you get to the CAM mission of getting 2 or 3 waves. Gas is necessary when we get to the end of TB. There's a gas Asajj Ventress mission that will get you 2 or 3 waves. And then obviously a highly relic gas is going to serve you well in TW. GR fleet, even without a Y-wing, you should be able to knock this combat mission down every single phase. And then finally the Y-wing, which we need for both donations and also to make those fleet missions that much easier. One final point. If you're able as quickly as possible to get that Shakti-led team up, well, it clobbers the heroic Sith raid. So start. What I've seen from a video point of view is if you start the run somewhere around mid phase 2, and you've got it properly modded and properly practiced, that Shakti-led 501 team will go from the midpoint of phase 2 all the way through the end of phase 4. That essentially guarantees you a top 10 finish in heroic Sith raid. From a TW point of view, by the time we get to roughly the mid-year point, maybe sooner, maybe Q2, look at what we are going to be bringing to bear against the enemy. 50s across the board. If we can bring all of these teams onto the battlefield, and then we have the leadership of people like Oberon and Antistes and Tusker and Pat and Libera and Jar, and new players, any of you who are interested in TW stepping up, and this is what you've got in your arsenal, we never lose. We basically just have to focus on execution, and we never lose. But it starts with farming. So it is essential for every Tythonian to look at their farming plan and make sure that they are doing the right things to not only get these tunes and put these squads in place, but gear and mod them appropriately against our competition. Don't forget, as exciting as this is for Tython, it's also exciting for our competition. As much as we are working, they are working. So it is essential that we continually work harder and faster and smarter than they do. From a GL and a GL killer point of view, this is where we're at. We've got phenomenal tunes now, either in our arsenal or farming towards, that we can take into all these guild modes, TB and TW, and absolutely crush it. So wherever you are above this line, below this line, or on both sides of the line, thank you for your continued focus on your squads. Thank you for sort of theory crafting and working as diligently as you are, because all of your efforts are materializing in outstanding success rates in both TW and TB. Mods 101, the Tython way. We know mods are the least favorite part of the game, but they're also the most valuable. This is a chart with a few edits that we've presented before. Give it a read. If you're not an effective modder and you know who you are, please give us a read. Take a look at these 5 bullet points and see what you can do with it. Let me close the presentation with just showing you what my plan is for the 2 accounts that I run, Clowns and Albus. in what I'm expecting to do that not only benefits my accounts independently, but then matches what the guild needs. So here you can see my layout. Essentially everything you see in the Q4 column is done. I've got about another month and a half here of work, and I'm just putting the finishing touches on the things that you see here. From a Q1 and Q2 point of view, you can see that I'm going after CAM, I'm going after GL counters, I'm starting GL farms, and I'm polishing up the Malevolence fleet. So all of these things that I'm looking at doing over the course of the next 7.5 months should put myself into a very solid position to be effective for the guild in TW and both TBs now and essentially every month. And then when the second half of 2020 hits, I'm sorry, the second half of 2021 hits, both of these player accounts should be really primed for goodness for Tython. I think the next steps for any individual player who's trying to catch up is fairly straightforward. Take a look at this video, pause it at different points, and try to incorporate some of the thoughts and ideas into your daily plan. But let me just sort of spotlight, make sure you're having fun. Make sure you're involved in the chat, reaching out, discussing ideas with other players or the officers. If you have any ideas or issues or challenges, please, let me know so that we can continually accelerate your game and help you have fun on a regular basis. We realize that many parts of the game on a daily basis are a grind, but all of that sort of matures and yields a crop that is really, really tasty when we hit TW and the various TBs. And for those who are having a lot of fun and are ready for a next step, we need you. Would love to have you, but need you to be an officer. So please raise your hand, or guess what? I'm going to come and tap you on the shoulder because I see incredible efforts across the board, and I'd like to see more and more people try out being an officer, more and more new ideas, more and more energy coming in, and likewise, we have to thank our officers that have gotten us to this point, and the best way to thank them is to give them a little break. The best way to thank them is allow them to be a regular player for a while and follow somebody else, just like we've been following them. So that closes my mid Q4 update. Hopefully you can hear from my voice. All arrows are pointing up. It's amazing what this guild has done. I'm really thankful that I've been able to have fun in this game by having fun in this guild. I thank all of you for your efforts, and hopefully you see from this presentation that everything that you're doing is really just opening the door to a lot more fun next year in this game. Thanks so much, Tython. Game on.